In this video, I'm excited to review the fundamentals of sparring. Let's begin. Sparring, or gyorugi in Korean, is an art form of fighting. And to become a good fighter, and I'm not talking about like a street fighter, I'm talking about a martial arts fighter. It requires technical skills. It requires the study of strategy. And because sparring is done with other people, with partners, or opponents in competition, it requires and develops character, like confidence, self-control, courtesy, even courage. Let's begin this review with the technical aspects. If I had to break down sparring in the most simple terms, it comes down to two things. One, initial attack, and two, counterattack. I'm either attacking my opponent first, or they're attacking me, and I'm doing a counterattack on them. When it comes to initial attacks, there's two types. Kicking stance, aya! Single attack, aya! Or a combination where you do multiple attacks, aya! Aya! When it comes to counterattacks, there's also two different types. There's direct counterattack and indirect counterattack. If I'm facing my partner, and if my partner were to come in, ha! And if I did a counter exactly at the same time without backing away, of course that would be considered a direct counterattack. But if my partner came in, and I were to get away first, whether it's a step back, whether I was sliding away or moving to the side or spinning away, and then counter, that would be considered an indirect counterattack. Now, in order to be effective in both attacking and counterattacking, offense and defense, to become a well-rounded fighter, we need development in a number of different areas. Number one, we have to constantly sharpen our kicks and punches. Now, it's possible for somebody to become good at sparring with just one or two different kicks that they're good at. But if somebody is good at roundhouse kick, back kick, and spinning kick, and they have a double roundhouse kick to go with it with both legs, that person has a higher chance to become good at sparring versus somebody who only has a left leg roundhouse kick. So practice all different kicks and develop confidence in it so that you can use it in the heat of the battle. Another huge part of Taekwondo is the understanding of distance. Now, the distance between you and your partner and the distance of their techniques and your own techniques when you attack or counterattack could be the difference between winning or losing a match. So as you're practicing your kicks and drills, remember, always understand the importance of distance. Another key element of sparring is timing. To be able to attack or counterattack at the precise moment without being too early or too late requires excellent timing. Many of my students tell me that while they're sparring, they're able to see with their mind and eyes what needs to be done, but their body wasn't able to follow. Well, if you train hard enough with a clear focus, you will and must develop a body's sense for timing. Next, students must constantly work on their footwork if they want to be good at sparring. Because Taekwondo sparring is not stationary where you stay in the same place at all times, we must have great footwork to be able to move in any direction at all times. Now, if you want to study more, you can revisit our videos on sparring movement, where there's different steps, motions, even step sparring and shadow sparring. But just know that great footwork allows the body to act and react effectively in sparring. And as I mentioned in the beginning, another area of focus is developing strategy. Now, we talked about different scenarios in sparring, whether it's an open stance or a closed stance or clinching when our partner gets close. But to be honest with you, there are so many different scenarios that happen in sparring, and that's part of the fun of sparring, is to develop different strategies and methods when you're working with different opponents. Every opponent is different, and even with the same opponent, You could spar someone on a Monday and have a certain strategy with them, and then spar them again on a Tuesday and have a whole nother strategy, and that is part of the beauty of the game of sparring. Just remember, strategy is something that develops, and it's something that you can have fun with. Now that we've reviewed our sparring fundamentals, I want to finish by giving you some reminders for when you actually spar an opponent. Number one, all matches begin and end with respect, and we show respect with a proper bow. Number two, we always protect ourselves by keeping our hands up, keeping our eyes focused on our partner, and we wear protective gear. Number three, we want to kick and punch in the appropriate targets. So we kick and punch to the body, we don't punch to the face, and for senior belts and adults, we can kick to the head with control. Number four, there's never any pulling or pushing our opponent. And I'm going to add one final one: have fun every time you spar. Sparring is not meant to be violent or done in anger. It's supposed to be exciting, and when it's done correctly, there should be a learning experience every time you spar, regardless of how different your partner might be. So again, don't forget, always have fun. Sparring teaches us so many of Taekwondo's great lessons, and I hope that my introduction of sparring and my review of the sparring fundamentals was helpful for you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.